You are watching The Horizon, the voice of the Amber Woman, exclusively on ABC Amba TV.
Mama Amba, with your love for us, we can assure Ambazonia is free. Today on Mother's Day, we shine a heartfelt spotlight on the mothers of Ambazonia, whose spirits in the face of unimaginable trials remain unbroken and fiercely radiant. Each Ambazonian mother stands as a testament to resilience, nurturing life and hope in a landscape marred by turmoil and the harshness perpetrated by French Cameroon's brutality. Their pain is deep, having shed blood and tears for their beloved land and lost children. Yet in their profound grief, they have not buried their beliefs in freedom and justice, but have instead sown these values even deeper in the soul of Ambazonia. Their love, boundless, their courage, immeasurable. These remarkable women have faced the darkness, yet they continue to embody the light, remaining fruitful amidst adversity. Their labor tirelessly, not just in the fields of their cherished land, but in the heart of their communities, nurturing the next generation with the strength and wisdom of warriors and peacekeepers. Their hands, though weathered by hardship, are the same hands that cradle the future, that plant seeds of hope and sustain the spirit of independence that defines Ambazonia. Today, we honor the Ambazonian mothers who, in the silence of their sacrifices and the loudness of their battles, show us what it truly means to fight for the essence of home and freedom. To every mother who has picked up the metaphorical weapons of resilience, love, and unyielding faith in the face of adversity, your valor inspires us. You do not fight alone. Your dreams for a peaceful, independent Ambazonia echo in the hearts of many around the world. On this Mother's Day, we celebrate you, Ambazonian mothers, not just as the hearts of your homes, but as the undying heartbeat of a nation striving for its rightful place under the sun. Your resilience sketches the blueprint for Ambazonia's tomorrow. May your tears of yesterday water the seeds of tomorrow's freedom, peace, and prosperity. Happy Mother's Day to the unwavering, formidable mothers of Ambazonia. Your strength lights our path to a brighter future. Mama Amba, with your love for us, we can assure Ambazonia is free.
Welcome to the Horizon. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching this program from today. Happy Friday. It's a pleasure to be with you today on the Horizon, the voice of the Amber Woman. We are here because you are there, and we are staying the course. Today on the Horizon, we have two exciting topics as usual. One has to do with artificial intelligence, and the other one is about a fearless leader in Africa, Ibrahim Traore. So before we delve into both topics today, I want to welcome on the Horizon the one and only Dr. Fred Lobati. Welcome, Doc. If you can show yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mape. We say Mape. The doctor is an academic title, but we affectionately call you Mape. So I'm very happy to be with you again in the program to educate our people and help them to understand truly what is going on currently and give them some good ideas and prospects for the future.
Thank you so much. I really want to appreciate also those who are in the Lion's Den watching. I hope they will pay attention to this program because some of what we'll discuss may affect them. I also particularly want to thank our ASA that have really sacrificed so much to keep our home protected, to keep our families protected. I want to pay special tribute to our family members and friends that are refugees in neighboring Nigeria and Ghana and other African countries, and those who have traveled through great difficulties and find themselves in the Americas, in Europe. So thank you for watching The Horizon, the voice of the Amber Woman. We're going to delve right into it. We have a tight schedule today. Believe it or not, I have to rush to work right after this, so I can't. We can't drag the program too long. Um, the first thing that I want to start with, Doc, is to talk about artificial intelligence. People may wonder, we are at war. Why should we bother about this topic? But just listen. You will understand why. You will understand why. Let's just take it easy. I drive on the streets here in Los Angeles, California, and every now and then I'll see a car that has no one in it and is just driving by itself. But let's just go to the basic. What is artificial intelligence, though? What exactly is artificial intelligence?
So I'll start by describing, first of all, what intelligence is. Intelligence is the ability to learn, to understand, and make judgments or have an opinion that is based on reason or common sense. I mean, if you talk to a natural, uh, well informed, and human being whose brain works, you present an issue, they'll be able to tell you what should be the solution, even without having gone to university or attended a special lecture on an object. So that is traditional, normal intelligence. So, but artificial intelligence in this case is trying to carry that ability of not, that I just described and put it on either inanimate objects or even objects or um natural objects that are not humans. For example, you will notice that some people will use this intelligence that we're talking about and make animals like cats and dogs have an intelligent discussion and even make movies that last for hours. And you think that it were the cats and dogs and chicken and that we're talking, but which was not the true case that was happening. So artificial intelligence is taking attributes and qualities of an intelligent human and passing it on to inanimate objects or objects that are not human.
Interesting. Wow. You just mentioned about using cats and dogs, and people look at them and think they are real cats and dogs. Um, so, just furthering along, what variations of artificial intelligence are operating today?
So, like I was mentioning, basically you take these qualities that I mentioned of the human ability to reason and use his mental faculties and natural abilities to learn how to live in his natural environment and be very successful. You take that skill and pass it on to something that is not human, in this case, an inanimate object like the car you were talking about in California, or other entities that are not actually human, like I mentioned about the animals. There are different variations of this. So traditionally, originally, you try to make computers which are they don't have life in them. They don't have like blood flowing in a vessel, and they don't have brains that think. It's just objects like you have a pen, a computer, or like your television at home. You make the computer to act like it's almost a human, to the point where they have reached a level where these qualities can enable those computers, which are inanimate objects, to learn. That means not only do things like we've been using them with our iPhones and our computers to do projects, but to learn and become even more skillful and more perfect with time. So you have them in inanimate objects, like I mentioned. That you also have them, like I said, where you can pretend that cats and dogs are talking. They just need to be moving their mouths, and you can now use computer to utter words that seem to be coming from the mouths of those animals, and people will be thinking that they're the animals who said that. And then you also have holograms, where they use qualities of physics and light to produce an entity that is not in existence. So they can make, for example, the human figurine, a human figure, same size, looking like a real human, appear to be there when it's not there. They just use the qualities of physics and light to produce it and paste it there. For example, in La République du Cameroon, when they had their last African um, competitive games in Yaoundé, they used a hologram to produce a lion that ran all around the stadium and went up the roof of the football field. That was not a true lion. There was no lion that was running around the stadium and went up the roof. It was mainly the qualities of a hologram physics that was used to deceive the people. And people can see it and feel like, wow, something great happened. But there was no true lion there. So there are so many different variations that can happen.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I can imagine how it can really deceive people, because you're seeing something and you think it's real. It emits all the emotions that comes from seeing something that is natural, but it's really artificial. How does that tie with alterations of the natural and normal?
Correct.
Because this is really
Correct.
important.
So it's very important because now human beings can abuse this technology and give the impression that we do not get old and that even people who have died are still alive. So you know how we have been altering our natural features. Naturally, as we know it, people get old, they get develop wrinkles in their facial features or their body parts, and the hair grays and turns white. And now people can now make their hair look dark all the time. You see many La Republic ministers, for example, they always have dark hair like they're always young. But comparative to their age, in their 80s and 90s, they're supposed to have all white hair because they were altering their natural hair. And sometimes you can actually make a hair that is not yours and put it on your head, just like you see our lawyers and judges put that wig on their head. So you can also develop one and you keep putting it on you to look young when you're not. And then we alter the natural features by taking away the wrinkles that make people look old, like the wrinkles on your face, by injecting Botox, which is a chemical which they extract from a bacterium. Just like you have tetanus that causes spasms, you have another bacterium that is the negative opposite of the tetanus that causes muscles to slacken and weaken. And so you take away the wrinkles and people look forever young. They don't have wrinkles, they always look young. And of course, you know, so many things that people do. Women can make their breasts look big and always standing like they're never getting old. So many different things that we can talk about. I don't want to go into it because I don't want to give the impression that I was abusing anybody. But what I'm saying is that we can alter our natural body to always look like it's young when it's not. And then if you now combine this artificial intelligence with that, it can make somebody who is very old, whose brains are not working, to look like he's very young and very intelligent.
Okay, I hear you. Some of the things you just discussed, like hair, wearing hair that is not your hair. I mean, this is not my hair, so I will go on on TV. My natural hair is kinky African hair. So some of the things you see, most women in the uh, industry in Hollywood who right here now. They all wear wigs. Most of our mothers back home, they wear wigs to look young. That's not what we're talking about, right? That's not really artificial
Right.
intelligence. This is just little things
Correct.
to look. Everybody wants to look young. So, but when we go into the details of, in fact, let me just even push this further. Um, you shared with me the what they are doing in China,
Mhm.
trying to get babies from beginning in an incubator.
Mhm.
Trying to have artificial wombs. Talk about that briefly, please.
Correct. So you can actually use this technology that we're talking about and raise human beings, natural human beings, not using a mother's womb. So you use just like the incubator where we take premature babies and raise them up to remain warm, and we feed them until they grow to become babies before we take them out. You can develop an artificial womb, which is processed and guided by artificial intelligence to create an environment that is comfortable for a fertilized egg to hatch and mature and grow into a human being and literally grow right to maturity and be delivered as a child, which is a technology that can be abused, say, by people who don't have children, or ethnic groups that are no longer reproducing, to increase their own proportion of the population by producing that. Basically, the methods of misuse of this artificial method and unnatural methods of human life are unimaginable. There's no limit. They can carry it to different levels, which I will not be able to exhaust it by presenting all of it. But that's one example that I was just describing there.
Yeah, so that one particularly bothers me. I mean, we're just talking about where science has gone through, that these are possibilities. So right now, we don't have any proof that there's really a human being out there that was created in this manner. But with time, with all the knowledge and technology that's out there, that may be the end game. And for me personally, I say that certain things have to be banned. I don't I'm talking about my perspective. I don't think that if someone cannot have a child, they can go this length in terms of getting genetics. And mind you, sometimes they have to manipulate these genes to get exactly the type of child that they want, whether they want a child that has blue eyes, blonde hair, no diseases, a perfect child. They manipulate the genes and then do this in this artificial womb and have a child. I really hope we never get to that stage. I hope that they have instruments in place to ban such practices, because we cannot mimic God. God gives us the knowledge to do certain things, to make living mankind to live a better life, But I don't think this is the way to go. What do you say about that, Doc?
Correct. So the fact that science can do something does not mean that it's good for man. But unfortunately, you cannot regulate and control every human who lives on planet Earth. You cannot take control the Chinese as the Russians, or like the Americans or the Africans. And what happens then is that the wicked, the ambitious, the very wealthy, and those who have the ability can decide to abuse this human technology for their own self-interest. So somebody, for example, who has a lot of money and does not want his money to be passed on to people that are not his children and does not have children, can use that technology to produce his own children who will grow up and enjoy his wealth, for example. And for that person, they may not consider it to be something bad. They feel like they're just using science and knowledge to perpetuate their genes. And there's so many different things that can happen there. The bad thing would be when they now disadvantage the poor, people who don't have the ability, and even kill them, eradicate them from existence, and then only
Right.
propagate their own genes and their own kind, just like Hitler wanted. Hitler believed in the Aryan race. That means a Caucasian, blue, colored eye with gray,
Right.
with
Long
blonde
hair.
hair, and didn't like what looks dark. So you can
Yeah.
now eradicate everything that looks black, and then you use this technology to produce only that. But the good thing with nature is that nature likes variety. Just take the flowers, just the rose flowers. There are so many different kinds of rose flowers. You have white ones, red ones, purple ones, dark ones, and all of that. And when you put it together, it looks more wonderful than if you have all red roses. So variety is good, and that's what the nature does when everything is allowed to live as God created it to be. When man starts um, interfering and bringing in all this technology, then we skew things to one direction, and it causes problems. And like I was saying, some individuals who have the ability and money can decide to misuse that technology for their own self-interest.
Yes, I think I don't know whether you want to talk about. I think I read something about Elon Musk in this business. I don't
Uh-huh.
know if that's something
Correct.
that you can share.
Correct. You can
I,
go further for those who are interested. I hope this is not going too deep for some of our people on the ground.
Mhm.
But for
Mhm.
those who are interested, Elon Musk at this time is considered to be the richest human on planet Earth. That's what is said in the popular media. He's from South Africa and relocated to the United States and has a lot of money. And he's the one who produced electric cars like Tesla that people are using. He's the one who attempted to go to space, and in a few minutes, he's squandered billions of dollars, and the thing did not get anywhere. But anyway, so he is using this technology of artificial intelligence to produce humanoids that are the size of a human being. You can create, for example, a woman to look the way you want that woman to be, the features you want the woman to have, whatever thing you think you like and admire in an attractive woman, you put them in that sized person and use computer technology to make that uh, artificial person to speak to you the way you want to hear that person talking to you, and you live in the same home with that person. You also have similar live humanoids become your servants, like they cook your food, clean your house, and you live like that. So that is literally an abuse of that system. But yeah, he is doing that, and that is something that is coming, and our people need to get to know that this is on the way coming. That is why we're talking about this program. Um, Especially as time goes on, I will try to break it down how it applies to us in Ambazonia and La Republique du Cameroon. But yes, that is something on the way coming. We have it's like we have to be smart to know when it's not truly what it is.
Yes, you took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to go to the next section. That let's go back to La Republica and Ambazonia. I know we're all fed up about the subject of whether somebody has disappeared or really alive, whether with everything that is going on, and some people don't even want to talk about it anymore. But we'll talk about it here. It's news. Um, Now we're talking about Biya. We know that he suddenly reappeared recently. We don't know the details. We still have to use that phrase that we don't know whether Biya is alive or is dead. But we have the right to talk about some circumstances that are possibilities, right? When we talk about artificial intelligence and how it relates to this, Doc, what are your intake? What is your intake on this subject as far as
Okay,
BI is concerned?
so before I focus on the beer fellow, you notice that there are some men who can use all this alteration of the body to make themselves look like women. They put the same wig on themselves, they put artificial
Mhm.
breasts and all body parts, and they sit somewhere and look like an attractive woman. And somebody can be deceived to think he's going after a woman, only to discover later on in the wherever you go to be private that sorry, that was a man and not a woman. There are different dimensions that go into the medical where you can literally alter the human body and transition from a man to a woman. That is too detailed to go into right now. But coming back to the person that they are calling Beer, basically you notice that the guy always has dark hair, which is not true. For his 91 years old, he's supposed to have white hair, which means that he's been painting or developed some artificial hair. You also notice when he presented back at the airport that the figure looked much younger than what we were used to, much younger and healthier, which means that he's used a lot of cosmetics to make himself look younger. The other thing that people need to know is that most dictators around the world use body doubles. Like Saddam Hussein had like four. So that you see somebody that looks like the dictator moving around, but that's not him. So too,
Mhm.
you will have, if you have noticed, there have been some individuals, even in the Republic du Cameroon, that look like Biya and talk like Biya. So they can get one of them to appear and go around looking like Biya when he's not. And the sad thing here is that the figure, whatever the figurine was that appeared in Yaoundé, may not be the true person. The true individual may have died in France. And they use all of these methods that I'm talking about to produce a figurine that goes around looking like him when he's not, to give the impression that he's still there and still ruling, as long as they give the impression that his heart is still beating, so that the wicked regime can continue in perpetuity, embezzling and
Mhm.
stealing and keeping the country in abject poverty. Basically, I want our people to know that that figurine that appeared is not necessarily what the Biya figure is. And if he truly is what he is, he would come out in all honesty and stand and talk with people and show that he is who he is. And if he cannot do that, then that was a false figure. That's not true. We have had here in the United States where they used artificial intelligence to speak like our President Biden. We know
Yes.
Biden, he was disqualified because he went to the debate and basically he stammered. Like he grew up a stammerer and learned how to speak and was a very successful politician. But when he was exhausted, having traveled to Europe and other places, came back and had a cold and went to the debate and could not speak fluently, people said, hey, he is not smart enough to rule the country anymore. He should get out. And that's how they brought Kamala Harris in. But they have had artificial figures that make Biden's mouth move, and he was speaking very fluently, like a Biden that was very intelligent and not stammering. They can do the same thing with that entity you call Biya. They can make him appear like he's very young and dynamic, stand somewhere like he's talking, and they can get one of his body doubles. They can have a figurine with a mask that looks like him, stand there, appear to be talking, and use artificial intelligence like he is talking when he's not. So our people need to be aware of this. That is where it becomes relevant. So you find then that the wicked, cruel regime in Yaoundé can abuse this technology we are talking about in order to continue putting our people in perpetual slavery and servitude and suffering. That is what we need to bring out here, not to cause trouble, but just to let you guys know that those are things that are happening. What you see is not necessarily what is happening. If they were able to produce a hologram looking like a lion in a football match, running all over the stadium and go up the roof of the stadium, they can do the same with a figure looking like Biya, which is not. The same figure can put his hand in the window of a car to make like he's greeting people when he's not. So
Yeah.
anyway, I think those are some of the things that we wanted to bring out. There's too much information about artificial intelligence for those who are intelligent enough. Many universities are doing research on this, coming up with a lot of things. Like you saw the car in California driving without a driver. I even saw in California a small figure that was delivering food from a restaurant
Oh,
to somebody's
yes.
home and can
Yes.
travel for miles and will not get into any accident on the road. It can detect that there's somebody or a figure on the road and bypass it and go and deliver the food and then return with the pay. So anyway, there are universities doing that research. I don't think our universities in La République du Cameroon are capable of doing that research. That's why over 500 universities in Africa mentioned they don't figure out in the first 500 because they don't have the ability to do those things.
That's interesting to know. Well, back on this topic of beer, we know that they don't have the resources to be able to pull something up like this because they are La République du Cameroon. But we know that France
Yes.
has the knowledge and the resources and the wherewithal to do all this. And it benefits France for Biya to still be alive. It really benefits France for Biya to be alive for a long time, even to 2025 when they have a fake election. So we are saying here today that we don't know the truth one way or the other. We're just saying possibilities that you people should shine your eyes, especially those who live in La Republic, those who believe in their president Biya. Shine your eyes, because if you don't see the real Biya speaking in the same mannerisms that he's spoken in the past, which those could also be faked, but be vigilant, because the next few months up through to 2025 will be very, very telling. If they don't come out right anytime to say that Biya is dead and here is his body laid in state for people to go greet him, then you realize that something is wrong with that country. And why would they be manipulating the system? Because they want to put leaders in place that will continue to listen to that will continue to listen to France and do their bidding. And that's what I want you to comment on this finally before we go to the next topic, because the next topic is
Correct.
telling us about the leader who has kicked France out of
Yeah.
this nation. Go ahead about this subject
And that is
and the
true
topic.
because the French, they're the ones who control the place. The president is just a figurehead. And the French will use whoever they can use as long as they continue exploiting the resources of the land. What happened is that, like Houphouët-Boigny, the president of Ivory Coast, when he died in the early 1990s, the French held the information for over 8 months until they had prepared the leadership that will um, make sure that they continue to control Ivory Coast before they announced that he was dead. Same thing in Togo as well as Gabon. So Biya could have died. He may be dead, and the French will hold it up. But these days, it's difficult for them to hold it for long. That's why you had the uproar that it's been 90 days. The president cannot be out for 40 days. And some people kept saying that the 40 days do not include weekends, so it's only Monday through Friday and not Saturday and Sunday. And so the French can use this technology we are talking about, manufacture a figurine that shows up looking like Biya, to keep him there until they have ensured that they have found the right individuals to perpetuate their mischief on La République du Cameroon and in the former German Cameroon and in Amazonia before they announce that the Biya is dead. That's what our people need to know. The French can misuse this technology to manufacture a Biya figurine that does not exist, to pretend that he is still there until they have secured the transitional government that they want to ensure that they continue doing the mischief that they have been doing. That's what our people need to know.
Well, this is really time will tell. That's all we say. Time will tell. We are on the horizon giving information that is more practical for people to think about. It's only in the SHITHOLE country like that where you don't see the truth. In other countries, when a leader is really sick, you can know for a fact that the leader is sick, is in the hospital, and XYZ is happening to the leader. Or if the leader passes on, you know for a fact that the leader is dead. In this case, you don't know anything. They have not even come to say that, oh, he is sick, he was here, admitted here. Nothing. They just say that he's there, he's alive. Anyway, time will tell. But we are saying on the horizon that artificial intelligence may be in play so that France gets what it continues to get from Africa. We're going to move to the next topic, which has to do with real leadership. And we want to talk about Ibrahim Traore, who became president of Burkina Faso in about 2 years ago, when he came to power. But we want to talk about him for reasons that we want to learn from and see how Amazonia, Southern Cameroons, can learn from such leadership. Doc, let's start by talking briefly about this guy. I mean, you want to share how he came to power and what he has.
Yes,
And
basically,
what he has
Burkina
accomplished so far.
Faso, which used to be called Upper Volta, Ivory Coast was called the Lower Volta, and Burkina Faso was called the Upper Volta. And you know about Sankara, he was in around 1986-87. Mitterrand was the president of France. Upper Volta or Burkina Faso is called the land of men of integrity. And Sankara came and wanted to make sure that Upper Volta had take good care of its citizens. And they noticed that France was a hindrance. And he wanted to cut all the links, not only of France, but all those groups around the world, like the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, that is exploiting that country and keeping them in abject poverty. So he wanted to do all those things, and Mitterrand, the president of France, literally ordered the killing of Sankara. That's what happened. And then they used his soulmate with whom he trained at the Emir in Yaoundé, the military place there, and put him in there, and he remained a dictator for a long time that the French used until he was deposed. And they have had some changes in government. The French keep coming and trying to find somebody else that they can use to keep the people in abject poverty, until this young man, a military guy, very young, emerged. And he's an honest and sincere person who has put his finger where it hurts and said that France is the problem and has cut all links with the French, and is after trying to make sure that he serves the interests of his people. And he has done wonders in developing that country. If you want to look at videos and enumerate the things that he's done more than so many other people have done in 50 years. And I trust and pray that he will stay in power for a long time, and his government and people like him, so that the people of Upper Volta and Burkina Faso will really develop and emerge as a very strong country in Africa. Not only that, but even Mali as well as the Niger, and many more that are coming on the pipeline.
Yes, Doc. In fact, I'm going to read a few things of what I was able to gather that he has done, and then at any point in time, I'm going to have you comment. He's building a university reference hospital, and it's projected that it will be one of the best in Africa. So he's building it at Bobi Diaz-Loso. I'm not sure what I'm pronouncing this well, but that's the city. He's building a modern railway system. We used to have railway systems in these days when we're Southern Cameroons. We had a railway system that doesn't exist anymore. That was built by the Germans, right, Doc? He's building something like that in his country. He bought more than 3,000 tractors for farmers to increase production of farm goods. And in fact, he's so much invested in agriculture. You talked about Sankara. Sankara was one of the leaders that he said that he who feeds you controls you. He's continuing in that legacy because he believes that you have to be self-sufficient. You'll be able to grow your own food and feed yourself, so you don't depend on other nations. He's got borehole machineries to provide water for 70% of his people. Boreholes machines to provide 70% of the people. Think about La République Cameroon. Think about Amazonia. We don't have those things done by our government. He built a gold smelting factor to transform gold locally to benefit the economy. Let me read on. He removed French and American soldiers and depends on themselves to solve terrorism problems. He trained 22 drone flying pilots, including women, to fly their own drones over their territory. He's recovered more territory from terrorism than any leader. He's transformed local products to satisfy local demands. He's preaching the idea of self-reliance. He's created a new airline called Air Burkina Bay. Air Burkina Bay. Along with the other associations of Sahelian states, they have created a new currency to get rid of CFA, francs. That is the French colonial legacy. He's created a University of Technology to train engineers to help transform the country. And he's widening the roads and paving new roads. So his achievements go on and on for just the short time that he's been in leadership. Talk about the currency situation, the banking situation.
Correct. The man is doing wonders in a very, very, very short time. I pray that he stays long. Yes, he's even developed a bank for Burkina Faso that will not be dependent on the French system. You know, even the gold that you mentioned, Burkina Faso now has billions and billions of gold. Before, France was confiscating all of that gold and taking it away to France. But now it belongs to the people of the land, and they have accumulated a lot. That is what is going to back their currency. Remember, that was the reason why the Western powers killed Gaddafi, because Gaddafi wanted to create a currency for Africa, and they thought that we will have a lot of money. So they killed Gaddafi and pretended all that nonsense that happened, that he was a dictator and all that stuff. So this man too is been able to take the things that are of Burkina Faso for the people of Burkina Faso, the gold he's recovered, so many other resources, and he's doing wonders, developing his country in a time. If you could have done that for 50 years, you would not even imagine where Burkina Faso would have been today. And in spite of that, Macron has attempted several times to kill him. There have been like over 100 attempts to kill him, trying to buy off people, the usual bribery around him to kill him, trying to send some people from abroad who used to be from the same country to pretend that they are coming home to use them to kill him, trying to send even some whites who may look different and look like they're just trying to come and do some business, trying to find different ways of killing him. But thank goodness, God has preserved his life, and I pray that he will remain alive. And even if he's replaced, that people like him, even better than him, will emerge and continue the developments that are going on in Burkina Faso in perpetuity.
As you were talking, I just thought that I should look at the population of Burkina Faso. The population of Burkina Faso is estimated to be 23 million 548. I didn't know that they had such a large population, and which is a 2.53% increase from 2023. That's the current one from 2024. And 43% of the population is under 15 years old. 43% of the population. 24% is 10 to 19 years old, and 34% is 10 to 24 years old. 55% is 15 to 64, and 3% is over 65. So most of his accomplishments are beneficial for the growing generations, because they will see that they will be able to enjoy all those developments. Let's talk about how this translates to Ambazonia. We are fighting for a free Ambazonia. We've been enslaved by La Republique and France for so many years that people may even lose sight of what freedom really means in terms of your good roads. I had a friend who just came back from La Republique to Cameroon and could not even go to our own part of the country because of terrible roads. But she mentioned that the roads are horrible. That is even the minimum that any government can do for its people. Have great roads that people can travel easily to do businesses, to trade, to just travel. That they don't have. So Doc, just give us what we are hoping for as Ambazonians in every aspect.
Correct.
When you think about what this
The
guy has accomplished.
the population proportion you mentioned is reflected all across sub-Saharan Africa. The population of La Republique claims that their population is 30 million. Remember, they always give a lower proportion of the population because they don't want to be responsible for taking care of the people. They say it's 30 million, so it could be more, it could be 35. The population of just the people of Ambazonia is probably over 10 million people. Many are abroad, while very few are there, and some have tried to go and try to survive in La Republique du Cameroon. And yes, that proportion of the age groups is the same, is reflected. And so these octogenarians in their 90s ruling us, they constitute a very infinitesimally small proportion, which is less than 0.01% perhaps. And the French are using that to drop the youth. And what happens is that once the young people have discovered that the French and their hegemony on us using these octogenarians are the problem, and they throw them out, even not only in Ambazonia but La Republique du Cameroon, these young people have it in them. The young people have the intelligence and the ability to do the same thing that Ibrahim Traore is doing in Burkina Faso. The developments will come fast. This even happened in Rwanda. The current president of Rwanda was born in 1957. And just in less than 3 years, because of the trouble that was there, his family took refuge and he ran and grew up in Uganda and has thought about his homeland, and they were struggling to fight until, the French caused the genocide in Rwanda. They came back and he took power. He fought from the bush, came back and took power, and see what he has done in Rwanda. And today everybody is talking about Rwanda is a spectacularly well-developed country in Africa. You will see that
Mm-hmm.
happening in many different parts of Africa as well, as long as they have their autonomy, the freedom to act based independently without being used by somebody out there, like the French or whoever out there, as a foreign now, like a white or whoever. But the people have the heart of their people, the people at heart, and they think about the development of the people at heart. You will see everything just blossom, like I would say the Garden of Eden. And that's what is happening in
Right.
Burkina Faso. It is happening in Mali. It is happening in Niger. Like you mentioned, the referral hospitals. Ghana is developing very fast, and they have such referral hospitals. Nigeria has some. Other countries like Kenya, they have them. And La Republique does not have any good hospitals. That's why they're running to go and die in abroad. They cannot even
Mm-hmm.
be treated in their own homeland, surrounded by their own family members, and die natural like every human being will, like I will, surrounded by your
Mm-hmm.
family peacefully among your own people. Is disgraceful. But all those things will come to pass as soon as we break these chains and take off the knee of the necks on of the French on our necks. And our
Yes.
young people, they are intelligent. We don't have to be the leaders when that change occurs. It can be others. Our young people, those very people that are struggling right now, it will come out of them. And as we get good, honest, sincere leaders among them, they will act even better than Ibrahim Traore. Our land is very fertile. They live around the Sahara Desert. They are not as fertile
Mm-hmm.
as we are. We have a lot of natural resources. Amazonia will just basically blossom into a very well developed nation. And in fact, the future is around the Gulf Coast, starting from Senegal, going all the way around the coastal region of the Atlantic Ocean, right down to Angola towards South Africa. That is the next frontier of economic development. And most of the economic business people on earth want to have a portion of that economic development. It is coming. This older generation will die and go, whether they like to pronounce it now or not. They will die and perish. The younger youth generation will take over, and that development cannot be held back. It is like a tsunami that is coming. And that will happen also in Amazonia as well as La République du Cameroon.
Absolutely, because you just talked about the fact that Ghana is developing and other countries have great hospitals. We, in the days of Southern Cameroons, West Cameroons, we used to have great hospitals. We had Acha, that was really a place that people could go there from all over West Africa. They went to Acha Hospital, Acha Tugi,
Mhm.
and we had our great schools that people had come for training from other countries. They came to Ombe for training, but they're all gone because La Republique did not want Southern Cameroons to advance with their goal of making sure that we remain untrained and uneducated, and so can only hold mediocre positions. So you are really giving us hope here. We're giving this program about Ibrahim Traore that we have young people in southern Cameroons, in Ambazonia, that will also lead us to greatness, and not to give up, regardless of what is happening in La Republique du Cameroon right now, not to give us. And we have this transition draft coming on, because we've been on this journey for 7 years, and the handwriting is on the wall that everything, there's a beginning and there's an ending, and the ending is
Mhm.
leading for us to get to where we're talking about Burkina Faso. We're going to be talking about Amazonia also, in terms of our opportunities to grow in every aspect of nation building. They're going to be coming to the end of this program soon. We just want to keep it 1 hour today. I have to rush to work. I just wanted you to give your closing remarks. And by the way, I'm still in pink because we're still talking about breast cancer month. October is breast cancer month. At the end, I'm just going to give a few advice on types of preventive measures. You really cannot really prevent per se, but there are certain things that you can do to minimize your chances of breast cancer. But any closing remarks on both the artificial intelligence topic and the vision for Burkina Faso by their current leader?
So I want to encourage our young people, especially those people who are living on the ground. that time and the future is on your side, on our side, not on these octogenarians. It doesn't matter how long they try to uh, delay the final pronouncement of their being gone. It's still going to happen. The French may try to hold it for 8 months. They may try to hold it for however how many years. It does not really matter. They will go. Time is on the side of the young people. And as time goes on, the French will lose their control of the colonies and their territories in Africa, just like they have lost in Burkina Faso, in Niger, and Mali. They will lose it. It is not a question of whether they will. They can fake a coup like they did in Gabon. They can fake a transition like they did in Chad. But with time, the French will lose it. And our young people will emerge. There will be autonomy in our different lands, including in Amazonia. And true good governance will emerge and harness the resources of the land to develop it to be what we want it to be. And the young people will do well and will thrive. That is the hope I want to give them. They should be very careful how they comport themselves. Don't let a foolish fellow who has been trained to handle a gun go around and just kill people randomly. Those guys are trained by the French to kill people to maintain French control of our people. The troops, you see, the police, the gendarme, the army, are not there for that country. La Republique did not train them to fight Nigeria or another country to maintain their territorial integrity. It was trained by the French to oppress the people and keep French interest in perpetuity. And with time, they will lose it. If you have the means to talk into their ears, convince those people not to shoot their brothers because they look like you and I. They're black skinned like you and I. Don't let them not kill our people because there's no point in losing our own. Let's recognize who the enemy is. The enemy are the outsiders, the French, who are using these octogenarians to steal our resources and keep our young people in abject poverty and servitude. And change is coming. They cannot keep it back. It's like when you see a tsunami coming, you try to use your hand to hold the water back. You will not keep it. The tsunami will sweep you into the dustbin of history, and that's what's going to happen with that regime in Yaoundé and the control of the French. That's what I would tell them right now.
Thank you so much, Doc. We had the show for just 1 hour today, and I just wanted to thank you for always being ready for the horizon, the voice of the Amber Woman. Um, we talked about artificial intelligence, so we also want people to understand that it has benefits. It has some good attributed to it, as well as harm attributed to it. We're not saying that the artificial intelligence is bad. It depending on how it's used, it could be great for civilization, but it could also be dangerous. So we hope that those who are in power, in authority, will be able to make sure that it's not used in a harmful manner. I'm going to just briefly mention about breast cancer. We conclude our breast cancer this week, breast cancer awareness. And I just wanted to mention a few lifestyle changes that you can live by to reduce risk of getting breast cancer. I mean, sometimes if it's something that's really genetic, you may not really have any control over it. But this lifestyle are certain things that we also do to maintain healthy heart, so it applies. So number one, maintain a healthy weight. Being overweight or gaining weight as an adult can increase the risk of breast cancer after menopause. Number two, be physically active. The American Cancer Society recommends at least 300 minutes of moderate physical activity or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous activity each week. Number three, eat a healthy diet, a balanced diet with plenty of fruits and vegetables, limit exposure to too much beef and sugary drinks and processed food. Number four, limit alcohol. Avoid drinking alcohol or limit yourself to one drink if you choose to. If you're if you have a baby, breastfeeding is preferred. Breastfeeding for at least 1 year is associated with a lower risk of breast cancer. I think our mothers at home do not really have this problem because most of our mothers back in the villages breastfeed. And then those who have access get regular mammograms. The U.S. Preventive Service Force recommends mammograms every other year for women ages 40 to 74, and yearly for women ages 45 to 54. Then talk to your doctor if you have a history of breast cancer or inherited the BRCA genes, BRCA1 and 2. And then, of course, manage stress and take care of your gut. So most of these lifestyle apply to other diseases like heart diseases, So let's try to do what we can do that we have control over and leave the rest to God. Also, finally, tomorrow, Sunday, is the transition draft. We are encouraging all Southern Cameroonians, all Ambazonians to show up and do your part, knowing that those who are in the home front are also sacrificing their blood and sweat. And so we can sacrifice our money and financial resources. Doc, I know I still have you on the air. Do you want to say one last thing before we close?
Not much. Not much. Thank you. I was just attending and listening and enjoying your presentation. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So I don't know if the technician is watching us. We are tuning down. We are ending the program. Hopefully you have a video to play for us as we end this show. I think he's surprised that we're ending so soon.
Yes. They should be coming up
Let
soon
me
with the
call
program.
him.
Mark the pages of history. The nation of Ambazonia garnered recognition from Camera Municipal Bareri, setting the stage for an unprecedented partnership in a bold stride towards fostering deeper ties with the people and nation.
You are watching The Horizon, the voice of the Amber woman, exclusively on ABC Amba TV.